Um, let's talk about spiritual warfare, shall we? I feel like I gotta uncrick myself. I don't think that's a word, but I just feel so cricked up, Just feel like I've been really feeling it. Spiritual warfare. I was talking to God yesterday, and I was like, man, it really has been dark, hasn't it? And I feel like he was like, yeah. Like that's been my vantage point. Like the disciples that were in the boat, when Jesus was sleeping in the boat and the storm came and they were afraid. They felt afraid. I think that we can think that what we're supposed to do and what makes us strong and what makes us able to stand is we need to respond like Jesus responds, unbothered by storms. But I think it will take enough storms to go through, to endure through, to produce the knowing that you're not lacking, so then that you're not influenced by the storm. And that is the place in which I need a breakthrough. Because it seems to be that the nature of spiritual warfare, the nature of storms for me, and maybe it is for all people, it comes in the form of an accusation. You are lacking. And so if you take it back to the disciples on the boat, were they afraid or were they accused of lack, which then made them feel fear? And Jesus was able to sleep in the boat because he knew he was whole. Right? And I don't think that Jesus was looking to the disciples to not be afraid, but he was just pointing out where they were and their need for him. And I think that years and years later, if this were to happen, the disciples would be able to sleep in the boat too. Why? Not because they practiced not being afraid, but because they came into the knowing of who their Father is and their perspective of light that says you are not lacking. But what makes vantage points so difficult and walking by faith so hard for me is I see my weak position. I see where I need a breakthrough, but I cannot bring about the breakthrough. And so I'm having to endure through, it seems, the same accusations. And logically, I'm like, no, like this isn't like, because it just comes out of nowhere, it seems, and it's just like, but I feel like I've been going through it long enough that I cannot draw upon my mental capacity. So I cannot draw to my mind to be able to logically get myself out of a storm. Because I seem to be tortured in my heart. I seem to be tortured in my soul. I seem to be worn down in this place where I'm in need of him to do something I've never seen before. And these accusations are coming, and what they're able to do is accuse me and have this effect on me because of the vantage point of darkness that I'm in. Right? This is where God is producing the faith. He says, the faith of a mustard seed will move mountains. But it's not just it's not just a mustard seed that's going to get it done. It's the mustard seed in the hand of God, the one who's able to produce all things. It just seems to be that we are all given a measure of faith that is adequate for what he's able to multiply. I like that. We seem to all be given a measure of faith adequate enough for him to then multiply. And in the multiplication, there is the moving of the mountain. In the multiplication, there is the breakthrough. But it is the enduring. We endure through trials. We endure through spiritual warfare. We ride out the storm. And at first, and for a time, you're going to feel afraid. Like I feel afraid. And I think you are then, like I am, positioned for a miracle, positioned for a breakthrough. I'm hungry and thirsty in a specific way to know myself that is beyond what I'm being accused of. But since I am in this weak vantage point, I can do nothing except cry out to God and say, Please provide the breakthrough. Please give me relief. I need you. I submit to you. I can't do this. When the storm comes, I'm affected by the storm because I'm in the storm. But I believe that it must be producing something long term, and that is one who's able to sleep in the boat. It's just not right now. And in some ways it's gotten a lot better, but I seem to be stretched beyond my ability. So logically I can't just what I'm telling you right now, it sounds like you can just grab onto that logically and be like, oh, okay, this makes sense, I'm good. But no, it seems to be spiritual warfare presses you in very specific ways. It presses on your weak points, your actual weak points where you are not able to be strong, the places where you're not able to see. You're in need of sight. You're in need of new hearing. You can't fake that. And I think that God allows it to come after you. And I think for a time maybe, and I don't know if it's for everybody, because he's just had me endure through it. You may seek deliverance and all that. Maybe that is your way with God. I don't know. It doesn't seem to be the way with me. Instead, it seems to be that I'm learning about it. And what I'm learning is that I need a breakthrough. And I can't bring about that my own breakthrough. And I feel like there's this massive breakthrough that is coming for me. And I'm in need of that to happen in order to move on, because I can't see past this point. And I've been going through the same trials and tribulations for so long that my mental state has worn very, very thin. I have never felt this heavy and crushed continually before. I think this is what you will experience. It will be the place that stretches beyond your capacity, where in a storm, you're not going to just be able to logically feel better about anything, because it really comes after you in the place that you don't know yourself, those dark places. And in those dark places in you, there is the need for light. There is where you need the breakthrough. So I need this very specific breakthrough that I can't even get a handle on. I just feel like these accusations of lack are coming and saying that in some way or another, you, Brandon, are going to hold yourself back, tormented by a spirit of fear, right? In the form of you are lacking. And one who is lacking is one who is separate from the Father. And one who is lacking is someone who should be ashamed. And one who is lacking, it's like lack says so much about a person, or the accusation does anyway. And I'm like, God, I need to know. And the whole wheat and the tares thing and how they grow up at the same time, but at the harvest season, he will separate the wheat from the tares. I really feel like that's happening with me. And I'm seeing, this might be your design, God. You're not asking us to respond better in a storm, but the storm is calling out where we really are. And in where we really are, that's where our most authentic heart cry will be. And you find him listening to your authentic heart cry in the storm, the vantage point of darkness that you can't get yourself out of, your desperation for a breakthrough. And I believe that you will receive by faith. He's like, I'm going to do it. But it doesn't just make you feel good all the time, because you're not meant to feel good all the time when you're going through the storm, because it's meant to really challenge you, to really draw up that unbelief, to really draw up that authentic heart cry. But no, you just have a word, you have a promise. He's like, I won't leave you here forever. I will not forsake you. You belong to me. You are not lacking. But it's not something that in the moment soothes me. It's something that I'm looking to. It's like he has his eye on the prize and I'm too weak to be able to even lift my head. And he's like, don't worry. I got my eye on the prize. I'm holding the faith. I'm producing the faith. You're going to get through this storm. The nature of a storm, man, comes the accusation. And you will just be one who is sleeping in the boat when it is your time to sleep in the boat, after that seed has become a plant and has been multiplied.